Led Zeppelin 4, AC/DC's Back in Black, and Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Great albums or overrated albums? Find out today on a new episode of Kiss and Tell Podcast. Hi, welcome to another episode of Kiss and Tell Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about overrated rock albums. So think of your favorite rock albums of all time. Ask yourself, could they possibly be overrated? We'll see if some of your favorites made the list today. I want to ask you to hit the subscribe button below, like, comment on YouTube, and thank you for all your support. So we have a distinguished panel today. We have Andrew Graham, Jeff Sweeney, Tommy, the Taterbug Barnes, and Michael, 100,000 watts. So we're going to get this ball game started. We're going to start with our number 5 most overrated rock album of all time. Andrew, you're up, brother.
I would have to say my number 5 would be AC/DC Back in Black.
Oh, man. Man, my fault, Chris.
I like that reaction. That's cool.
All right, Andrew, why you think? Why did that album make your list?
It's a great album. I like the album. It's just, I feel like everybody just treats it like it's the greatest album on the planet. I love every song. I mean, there's maybe one or two I'm not really that a fan of, but
What's those 2 songs or one song that you're not that big of a fan of?
You Shook Me All Night Long. I like Hell's Bells to a point.
Okay.
You can only listen to it so many times before it just gets annoying.
Well, I understand.
It's a good album, and I just think it gets too much credit.
Okay, so this is the part of the show where we're going to go thumbs up or thumbs down. So if you agree, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. All right, show your thumbs, boys. So Andrew's out on a limb there by himself. All right, so
Thanks.
now we're going with Tommy Taterbug Barnes for this number 5 album.
All right, yeah. As far as the now these are rock albums and these are just opinions. Mine's going to be the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds.
Okay.
That's going to be my number 5. Here Today was an all right song, and Let's Go Away, that was all right. The rest of the album was just basically horrible in my opinion, but that's it.
All right, so Tommy's take is on Pet Sounds, which by critics is one of the greatest rock albums ever made. So if you agree, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down.
Outrageous! Outrageous!
All right. So, Mike
I'm just playing
Watts.
with you, Tommy.
Mike Watts, you're up, brother.
For number 5,
Yes.
oh, man, everybody and their mom is going to be mad at me. Led Zeppelin 2, the album. Led Zeppelin 2.
Oh.
The reason
I was just
why, Chris,
listening to that album earlier.
Hey, look.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin 2, I'm going to go with their first little bitty hit that never made it to number 1 anyway, with Robert Plant and Jimmy Page. You know, Jimmy Page, he's jamming. But let me see about Robert Plant going, I got a whole lot of love. Yeah. You know how Jimmy make a guitar sound like a kitty cat? Yeah. I got a whole lot of love. Yeah.
So Mike Watts is going Led Zeppelin 2. Thumbs up and thumbs down, boys. So Mike's out there on the limb by himself.
Oh, wow. If I have to pick an overrated album, let me see here. I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings with this one probably, but I would say it would be Motley Crue's Dr. Feelgood. That time that album come out, I was a Crue fan, but you know, there are certain songs on that album to me that were great, and there were some that were just like throwaways that they added onto that album just to get it done. You know, maybe it was just because they were all going through a period of rehabilitation at that time and stuff like that too. But it's got strong points. But if I never heard Doctor Feel Good or Kickstart My Heart ever again in my lifetime, I'd never miss it. It's just that's my opinion on it.
All right, so we're gonna do our thumb reaction, either up or down. So we got a mixed bag here. Some agree, some don't. All right, so we've come out the gate swinging. Good job, boys. Some solid picks there.
Yeah, it was definitely an overrated album.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
So now it's my turn, and my number 5 overrated album of all time. I love this band. They're one of my favorite bands of all time, but this album was just for me. I like a couple songs on it. That was about it. And that is Metallica's "And Justice for All." I did not like the production. There is absolutely no bass sound on that album.
That's true.
I just thought the production value was real crappy. I love The Shortest Straw. I love One. After that, nothing really that captures my attention that much, especially after you're following up Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All, Masters of Puppets, and then that album. But great video, though. I love the video for One. So thumb reaction, boys. I got 1 agreement, and I got 2 that doesn't. 3 that don't. All right, good. So now we're going back to Andrew. He's going to give us his number 4.
My number 4 would be Warrant, Cherry Pie.
Oh, that was on my list.
That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, it's good. That was actually on my list.
Tell us, Andrew, why you chose Cherry Pie.
I like some of the songs, but like some of them I really just could care less. Like Sure Feels Good to me, I really don't like that song.
All right. So thumb reaction. I'm on disagree. I like that album actually. You got a couple that agree and a couple that don't. All right.
How did you vote for Cherry Pie when it has the best song they ever did, Uncle Tom's Cabin on it?
Yeah, Uncle Tom's Cabin's great. It's a great song.
All right, number 4. Oh, it's time to really start getting people to bite nails now. Nirvana, Nevermind.
Oh, Tommy goes grunge and chooses Nevermind.
Yeah, and I'm really gonna go out on a limb here and wait for somebody to cut it down. When I say if Kurt Cobain did not commit suicide, they would not be as popular as they were.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was never a fan of Nirvana as far as them being. I mean, they were a talented band. I'm not saying they're not, but that was an okay album, and I think it got way more rating, hype than it deserved.
So
I agree.
Remember, we're not saying that these albums suck or these albums are terrible. We're just saying, yeah, these albums are pretty good or they're good, but they got more love than they should have, in our opinion.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
like
sir.
On the Plane. That's not a very good song. Drain You. Really?
But again, these are all our opinions, so everybody has different opinions about every album.
I never understood why Smells Like Teen Spirit was that good of a song.
To be honest,
different.
I don't think it is.
Different. It was a different song. I mean, they kind of spotlight. But you got to remember, you had, the Sex Pistols and all those that came out before them, and they had no love, and they were just as talented.
All right, so thumb reaction time. If you agree with Tommy, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. Mike?
Outrageous!
So 3 agree, 1 doesn't. Sorry.
My number 4, it's funny that we picked a little bit of the 90s going on right here. I picked Bush because their first album with Glycerine and Come Down, I really loved that. And then when they made Razor Blade Suitcase, I just couldn't find anything on there that that had that punch. I mean, they're good musicians, and I love their album. I just think that Razor Blade Suitcase might have been a little bit overrated. Yes.
All right. So if you agree, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. Here's the reactions.
Outrageous.
I think we all agree.
Outrageous.
It's funny that you picked Bush because the other day my son was asking me about some bands from the 90s, and he's like, what's this band called Bush, Dad? I'm like, they got popular for a few years. I said, but honestly, I never liked them. I never liked one song by them. So he's like, let me listen. He's like, let me listen to them. So I played their most famous song, which was Glycerine, right? That's what I thought. That was their most famous song. And he listened to it. He's like, yeah, that's terrible. I was like, well, you know, each to their own. But I never got into Bush. So now we're up to Jeff.
They sold like almost 300,000 copies the first week.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
They were popular. I remember a lot of people loved those guys.
All right. This might get you on a little separate level, but I'd have to say the self-titled White Snake from 1987. And it was a big hit. I think Mike and Chris and I remember how popular it was through our high school and stuff. And yeah, it's got some good songs. But I've listened to older White Snake tracks. I've listened to newer White Snake tracks. And, you know, I find them just as good and not having to be blown out of proportion. I can't, like, here I go again. I hate that song. I cannot stand that song. If I never hear it again, I'll never be sad. Or Is This Love? That's another one you get tired of hearing after a while. But I think people just took that way out of proportion. They thought that was like the first album that Whitesnake ever done, and Whitesnake has a lengthy history all the way back into the 70s that people just, I don't think they ever realized. So I think that album was just blown way out of proportion.
It's just like there is one song by Queen. I cannot ever listen to it. It will get stuck in my head for days.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bicycle Race.
Oh, Bicycle Race. Nice.
I
hate
that song with a passion.
I love that song.
I actually love that song.
I love it. I love that song. Hey,
what do you mean, Flash Gordon approaching?
Hey, Thursday night. Thursday night, boys. I went and saw a Queen tribute band down here by my house, and it was awesome. And I thought, how badass of a band do you have to be where you can sing about riding a bicycle and you don't get booed off stage?
Yeah,
that's true.
We might get to that.
That is true,
we
but
might get to that in this episode.
I cannot listen to Bicycle Race at all. It's stuck in my head. Like, I mean, I like Queen. I like all their songs, but that one.
That one. I can see where Andrew's coming from.
So, if we agree with Sweeney, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. Oh, everybody agreed with you, Sweeney.
I likes it.
Hey, but I'm so glad they made that album so we could see Tawny Kitayan dancing on the cars, man. We got some killer albums. And speaking of killer, Mike's drinking kerosene up there. Hopefully we don't have to call the ambulance.
He's going to be highly combustible.
He's trying to wash it out of his system there.
Hey,
hey, if you had Corona, it's gone now.
Yep.
Hey, I've been working on them pools, Tommy. I got enough chlorine to be sanitized.
Yeah.
There you go.
So let's get this train back on the track. My number 4 most overrated album of all time is Van Halen's Diver Down. Not a fan of that album. Yeah. I like the song Cathedral, but they got so many cover songs. They got Old Pretty Woman, Dancing in the Street. They even redid the cowboy song Happy Trails to You. To me, it was just like they wanted to put out an album to keep their name in the spotlight because they were so popular at that time while they worked on like a legit album like 1984 or something. But I never liked Diver Down, and I thought it was super overrated. Of course, the musicianship on it was really good. I just think the songs were crap, my opinion. So we got a thumb reaction, either thumbs up or thumbs down. Oh, we got 3 and maybe a half one there. All right, so we're at Andrew for his number 3 overrated album of all time.
Number 3 is Bon Jovi, Sloppy When Wet.
It was on my list, Andrew. Andrew, that was on my list, Andrew. Me and you just think too much alike.
Now, did he say slippery when wet or
I think he said sloppy when wet.
Oh my God, I'm about to black out.
Damn, tongue twister. Slippery.
Sloppy.
No, I'm not.
Oh my God, I'm going to pass out. Sloppy. That title is so much better than slippery. Sloppy.
You ain't lying.
I don't know where I got to think it was a no. I don't know where I got that from.
Andrew, you about killed me, man.
I gotta write that.
I don't know where I got that from.
That is worth keeping. Sloppy
when wet.
All right, Andrew, tell us why you picked that album.
I'm not a fan of Raise Your Hand. Without Love, I'm just not a fan of those songs, honestly. I mean, I like every other song on the album. I just think it gets more love than it honestly should. Wanted Dead or Alive is like the best song on the whole album.
Yes.
In my opinion.
All right, so we got a thumb reaction, either up or down. We got 2 that agree and 2 that don't. All right, so now we're off to the Bug. We're going to go see Bug and his number 3 most overrated album of all time.
All right, we're going to go back in time a little bit here. How about Radiohead's OK Computer?
Oh,
damn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had songs like Lucky, and you had songs like No Surprises, Let Down. I mean, it was a good album, but I don't think it was nowhere near as good as what it was credited.
Okay. So Tommy goes Radiohead. So thumb reaction, up or down?
Outrageous.
You got everybody agreeing with you on the panel.
Oh man, yeah, that'll work.
Now, Radiohead's a very talented band. But they're more like a critics band. You know, the critics really love Radiohead, and they're never mainstream. They always stay off the beaten path, so to speak. But they're very creative band. So let's go with Mike Watts and his number 3 most overrated album of all time.
Well, Jeff Sweeney probably won't be mad at me. A Night at the Opera.
A Night at the Opera by Queen?
By Queens. You're my best friend, Chris. Don't kick me off Kiss and Tell for this.
Okay.
But I'm thinking it's an overrated album because I had 2 hits on there that I like.
Okay.
Best Friend and Bohemian Rhapsody. And I'm wondering, how the hell are you going to sell 7 million copies off 2 songs? You know, I know they got I Love My Car they gave to the drummer. But, so I'm thinking, A Night at the Opera, Queen.
So let me recap Mike's overrated album so far. We got Led Zeppelin 2. Mm-hmm. We got Razorback Suitcase, and we got A Night at the Opera. Okay. So if you agree, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. Oh, we got 2 that don't and 2 that do. Okay.
All right.
So let's go to our drummer on the set, Jeff Sweeney. Your number 3 overrated album of all time?
Number 3 overrated album of all time. This is going to step on some toes probably here too, but I'm going to say Def Leppard's Hysteria. Simply
Oh,
because
Oh,
you just pissed
wow.
off all the female population.
but you
They
know,
might as well done it now.
I believe that it's a good album. Don't get me wrong, but again, it's one of the ones that were just so blown out of proportion. I think the main reason people wanted that album so bad and took to it so much is because, well, you had Rick Allen who lost his arm after a car incident, and yeah, it's a major setback, and it's a major awesomeness to it too that he got to play and what they done for him. But it's come on, guys, it's still just an album.
We got any reactions to that pick?
Oh yeah, I totally agree with him. The only real good song on the entire album was Hysteria. Animal was okay, but Love Bites and Pour Some Sugar on Me were the god-awfulest songs they ever did. And they were so blown out of proportion because I was like, this song sucks. Why does everybody like it?
Thanks. That's a good song.
That's another
Sugar on Me
album.
is a chick song.
Yeah, that's another album. That's another album where when I bought it, and then KF99 radio station had gotten a hold of it. They played it so much you just never wanted to listen to it again because I think I could go to the bathroom. I could wipe my ass with Pour Some Sugar on Me. That's how much I heard it. It was coming out very.
It made you hate MTV. It made you hate MTV back then.
Exactly. Exactly. I didn't watch MTV. I'd have to turn the channel.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do our thumb reaction. If you agree with the Hysteria being overrated.
Outrageous.
So we got 3 that agree and 1 that don't. I think it was a good album, but yeah, it was a little too much love.
Yeah.
Especially when Pyromania kicks its ass.
Exactly.
That's another great album.
That's a fantastic album.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
It is a great album.
I think that would be that album's a little better.
Oh yeah, I think it's a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
A lot better.
Oh yeah. Subject matter wise and everything, it was a lot better.
All right, so my number 3 pick of most overrated albums in rock history is Aerosmith Rocks. So that's a big album that a lot of Aerosmith fans love. I like it. It's okay. I don't think it sucks, but I love the song "Back in the Saddle" that's on that album. That's one of my favorite Aerosmith songs. I really, really love that song. But after that, the album's just okay to me. It's not that memorable, and it gets a lot of love. I hear a lot of people saying that was their best album ever. Usually, people say that or "Toys in the Attic," but for me, I thought it's good, but I'm not going crazy over it after Back in the Saddle. That's the song that really hit me hard. I love that song, but the other songs, I'm just like, okay, I could take it or leave it. So I feel like that album was very overrated. I don't even feel like it's nowhere near their best album. So Aerosmith Rocks is my 3rd choice. So we got thumb reactions up top.
Outrageous.
Okay. I got one where everybody's agreeing. Wow, look at me. I feel like Taterbug.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're a rock and roll genius.
Hey, Chris.
Yes, sir.
We have since we mentioned this a while ago, now my daughter is playing Pour Some Sugar on Me and dancing with her arms in the air like it's just.
I told
Yeah,
you
'cause
it
she
was
loves-
a chick song, Andrew.
My daughter, Peter said it was a chick song.
Chick
Yeah,
rock. It's chick rock. Hey, when
chick rock.
and when that song goes off, she's gonna play "You Give Love a Bad Name."
Yeah.
Probably she likes
And living on a prayer.
Living on a prayer. Yeah, she loves living on a prayer.
Hey,
She's singing it right now, so that's what she's probably getting me to put on.
hey, did y'all know that the same guy wrote "I Was Made for Loving You" by Kiss, Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi, and Living La Vida Loca by Ricky Martin?
Oh, wow.
Wait,
It's the same guy. It's that Vinny Vincent
Poncia.
Poncia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vinny Vincent.
Same guy. So he's got to have a lot of money.
Yeah.
what'd you say his
Yeah,
last
really.
name was?
He
Lineman?
produced, I think, what? He was
Poncia.
someone that produced Unmasked.
Yeah.
Vinny Ponzia?
Yeah. He did Peter Chris's solo album, and he also did Dynasty. He was the producer on Dynasty.
He was, he
Vinny
did
Poncia.
Unmasked, too.
Oh, did he?
Vinny
Okay.
Ponzia.
Yes, I think he did Unmasked, too, if I remember
Okay.
correctly.
Okay. Yeah, that guy,
Yeah.
he wrote all three of those songs. I saw him
Oh,
in an interview.
wow.
I saw him in an interview the other day. He said that he walked in because Bon Jovi was recording "Slippery When Wet." They said, "Hey, can you come in? And we're having problems figuring some lyrics out for this one song." So he said he walked in the room and John Bon Jovi's there, and he goes, John Bon Jovi turned around to him. He goes, "Shot to the heart, and you're to blame." And Ponce says, "I don't know what." He said, just the first thing that came to my mind was, "You give love a bad name." And Bon Jovi's like, "That's it. That's it." And that's how that song got completed.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So
So is Vinny Ponzia?
yeah. So, huh?
Is Vinny kin to Vinny Vincent?
No.
When he said Vinny, honestly,
mean
at first I thought he said his Vinny Vincent at first.
This is Kiss and Tell. You ain't gonna be Vinny Ponzia on here and get shots out without me saying Vinny Vincent.
We're going to Andrew to hear his second most overrated album of all time.
Ozzy Osbourne, Bark at the Moon.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm not a fan of the song. I'm so tired. You're No Different. I really could care less about those songs. I mean, overall, it's a good album. I just wasn't really a fan of those two songs on the album.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't Jake Ely on that album too? Or
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That was his debut guitar album, Tim.
No? Okay. But he was on Bark at the
That
Moon.
on CD.
Wasn't Jake
And
Ely
Jake
on?
Lee was on Bark at the Moon
Yeah.
and Ultimate Sin.
Okay. So reaction time. If you think that Bark at the Moon was overrated, thumbs up. If not, thumbs down.
Outrageous! Outrageous!
All right, so we got 3 that agree and 1 that don't. All right, good job. So our next contestant is Tommy Barnes with his second most overrated album of all time.
I'd say any album the Who did. In my opinion, they had one good song, and that was Pinball Wizard. I mean, I'm gonna say any album they did, but I'll go with Tommy just because it's me.
So Tommy's going with Tommy. Interesting.
Yeah, well,
All right, so Tommy says that Tommy, the album, is overrated by the band The Who. So if you agree or disagree, show your thumbs. We got 2, 1 that doesn't.
I can tell by your face.
And Mike agrees too. All right. So now we're at Mike Watts and his second most overrated rock album of all time.
Wait a minute. You said second.
Yeah.
Damn. Tommy O Tom, you stole it from me with Radiohead. And I was going to explain why, because I like Creep so much, and I thought they were going to come out with something like Creep eventually. So, you know, I even jotted down a few notes on little
Tell me your notes.
Colin Greenwood and his little brother, Jerry, or what's his name, Johnny Greenwood, and the little English rock band that was made in 1985. But when Creep come out, that was such an awesome little single that I thought that at least this album could come out like it was supposed to come out. And this album was like ambient, Pink Floyd trip, cross between, you know, a little bit of country music in there too. So I didn't know what they was thinking.
So what's the name of your album, Mike?
Okay, computer.
Okay, computer.
If the fans are watching, then they'll keep up. Right, Tommy?
That's right.
Didn't you pick it?
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, you're up with your number 2 most overrated rock album ever.
Number 2 most overrated rock album for me would have been Poison's "Open Up and Say Ah." You know, I bought the first album when it first came out, and I was really into them starting out, even though I thought they were the hottest chicks underneath the sun. But to me, when they started, I mean, it was good. The second album, though, man, people blew that album up like it was the greatest thing ever when it first came out. I remember everybody in high school had it, bought it, and stuff. And I never did. I couldn't stand it. I thought it was just really crappy. And then on top of that, I think it was during that time of that album when they did the cover version of Rock and Roll All Night from Kiss. The worst cover that has ever been created, in my opinion. I think
so you
cover that.
I mean, Poison came out with a cover of Rock and Roll All Night. I mean, it was alright, but it just.
Hey, I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. I got to defend Lady's Honor here. The worst cover of all time is Sheryl Crow's "Sweet Child of Mine."
I will have to agree.
I mean, I got to defend that lady's honor.
I will have to agree with that.
I don't know. And I don't even like Guns N' Roses. But I had Poison albums. To me, it's horrible. It's horrible. I still don't like it to this day.
All right, so
I'm going with that one.
We got Open Up and Say All, so let's have a thumb reaction. 2 agree, 2 don't. All right, so we're at my number 2 most overrated album of all time. And this band's already been chosen, but not this album. So my number 2 most overrated album ever is In Utero by Nirvana, which would be their album right after Nevermind. I really loved the song Heart-Shaped Box. I thought that was an incredible song. I love that song. It's very dark.
That is a great song.
Love that song. But the rest of the album was just like, not really. And I thought Nevermind was a way better album. And for me, In Utero just wasn't very good, as aside from Heart-Shaped Box. Tommy thinks that if Kurt never would have died, they would never reach that height of popularity.
They're martyrdom.
Yeah. Sometimes when people die, they become martyrs. Who knows if that's true or not? But no matter if you liked them or thought they were overrated, they did start a new movement, and they were kicked off the grunge scene. That's for sure. So we got thumb reactions. Got 1 agrees, 2 agrees, 1 doesn't, 3 agrees, and 1 disagrees. All right, good. So now we're back to Andrew and his number 1.
My number 1, the band has been chosen, but not this album, is Look What the Cat Dragged In.
Oh, we're going back to Poison.
Yeah. Played dirty. I wasn't really Look What the Cat Dragged In would be my number 1. Like, I Want Action. I mean, that song, I've heard it so many times it gets tiring after a while.
Hit it, CC.
Hey, Dirty, I'm not really a fan of that one.
That's my favorite album.
Hey, you guys poisoned me, man. Hey, I can remember going over Mike's house. And he had that album, and I heard so much. Mike played the crap out of that album. Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, I've listened to that album so many times.
I bought that album like 3 times because I kept wearing the tape out.
There you go. There you go.
So our last episode we recorded a few nights ago, we had a guy on here by the name of Glenn Aliano. He's a musician from California, and he's out of L.A., and he said that he remembers the L.A. Sunset Strip when Poison was doing the strip, and before they got big, he said he saw Bobby Doll in a club, and him and Bobby Doll started talking, and Bobby Doll was telling him about the album, the cover of the album that they were working on for Look What the Cat Dragged In, and how they were trying to have the most outrageous album in the history of rock, to grab attention. But what was cool about that whole conversation was he said while he was talking to Bobby Doll, his then girlfriend was upstairs making out with Bret Michaels.
Wow.
You remember?
We'll say that. So we're going to thumb reaction to Andrew's Look What the Cat Dragged In. 2 disagree.
Mike.
Mike agrees. Mike, you used to play that album
I
all
like
the time.
Yeah, you love that
I
album.
like the
it is
first album.
overrated.
The first album. I like the first album. But I
That's
like
what we're doing. We're doing the overrated. It's
Yeah.
overrated.
If it's overrated, it's because you overrated it, Mike.
I know we all do.
All right, so this is Tommy Barnes with his number
Yeah.
1 overrated album of all time.
Number 1 overrated album of all time. Got to be Blonde on Blonde. Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
I know we're supposed to be doing groups, but Bob
No,
Dylan
that's fine.
irritates the mess out of me. A great songwriter, but dude, just keep your mouth shut and write the songs.
Oh yeah, I agree.
He's
I agree with you.
Performer. He come to Jackson
I agree with you.
like, I don't know, 10 years ago, and after about 45 minutes, the stadium basically just cleared out.
Really?
I agree.
Yeah, it was horrible,
But it
man.
sounds that yes. But it seems that
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Yeah, you just want to tell them, shut up, man. Let the band play.
You know what's bad about it is that Tom Petty sounded a lot like him when they sang because their musical styles are so similar. But
Yeah.
Petty was better. Petty was like
Well,
20
Petty
times
was
better.
Petty was an actual front man. I mean, he could actually work the crowd. Bob Dylan didn't give a damn what the crowd wanted.
What y'all talking about?
We're talking about Blonde on Blonde by Bob Dylan,
Why are we talking about Bob Dylan?
because he was Tommy's number 1 pick for most overrated rock album of all time.
Oh,
What was you about to say?
Oh, I was going to say about when we mentioned Bob Dylan, he did have one song that he sang that I liked. I've heard covers of it from local people, and that was the song. Was it Masters of War?
Okay.
The older song talking about, and that's exactly what they're talking about. I believe that's what it was called. It's got a very interesting storyline talking about people who just, that's all they do. They're the masters of war. They cause war for everybody, but they don't step up to the plate themselves to fight the wars. They leave it up to everybody else. Kind of like a Black Sabbath
War
War
Pigs.
Pig scenario.
Yeah.
It's a very, very unique song.
Well, Dylan's one of the greatest lyricists who've ever lived, and he started, you could say, that counterculture movement within the rock world, no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah, all along the Watchtower. I mean, he wrote that song.
Yeah.
He covered it, and it didn't do nothing for him. Then Hendrix did it, and it became like a mega hit. So,
Yeah.
he could write the heck out of a song.
He's a great, great songwriter. His vocals, not so much. I do enjoy how he sings Knocking on Heaven's Door. I love the way he sounds in that song. And the way he sings it, I like it better than the way Guns N' Roses sing it, because it's a more honest, heartfelt way with his vocals, like more sorrow. And even though he doesn't have a good voice, I love the way he sings Knocking on Heaven's Door. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so reaction time with our thumbs to Bob Dylan's Blonde on Blonde. Got an agreement. You got 2 agreements and 2 disagreements. Okay. So we're now
Well,
at,
Mike's is kind of a halfway.
yeah, he's kind of halfway. Mike Watts, you're number one.
He's a hung jury.
It's not a yes, it's not a no, it's a maybe.
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're up, Mike Watts.
Oh, you're gonna be mad at me, Lion Man. Oh God. Appetite for Destruction.
Oh, no,
The
He
11th.
just took my
The
number. He
11th.
just
I was actually thinking about that earlier.
Hey,
yeah, I was.
hey, it took them a while. Look, the bands in the 70s didn't have help from MTV and VH1. Look, when Guns N' Roses first come out, they was just jamming a little like about them. They kept playing them and saying, "What the hell is that?" And you're gonna get Welcome to the Jungle. We got Fun and Games. There's no fun and games in the jungle. It's lizards and stuff and shit. So yeah,
I think you're overthinking the song, Mike.
Overrated band of the century.
Mike says not
Oh,
only
wow.
is that the most overrated album of all time, but he just said they're the most overrated band of the last century.
Oh,
Yes.
I
Look.
I agree
They
with
was
him.
the most
I'm not a Guns N'
I
Roses
think they
fan.
landed. I think they landed in the top 15 of selling albums in the U.S. But I'm like, man, Mr. Brownstone wasn't all that great.
All right, so it's time for our thumb reaction moment. If you agree or disagree, we got 2 that agree and 2 that don't.
Yeah,
Wow, Mike, that's a strong pick, man.
yeah, and it had a strong response.
I don't agree with it, but that was a
Hey,
strong
look,
pick.
in the 70s, it's true. In the 70s, no bands had the help of the political MTV and who was supposed to be pushed on. You know, and it seemed like that little Axl, they was, you know, Slash is great. Don't knock me. I mean, he's got great sounds.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Axl sounds like Mickey Mouse smoked a carton of cigarettes before he tried to sing.
Dying cat.
Hey, I will
A
agree.
dying cat. That's how-
I will agree. I am not a fan of Axl's voice, and I hear a lot of people say he's the greatest singer in rock history.
oh, hell.
I'm like,
He-
what?
No way.
In my opinion, he
What?
is not. He is not.
I
No.
don't. He's not even top 20 in rock history.
I-
I
No.
don't. But there's
No.
I love the music.
there's a lot of people that will tell you that Axl Rose is the greatest singer in rock history. In fact, there was some scientist
And
who did some kind of experiment, and he did, I don't know, these variables to determine who had the greatest voice in rock history, and he came up with Axl Rose as the answer.
no, in my opinion, he is definitely not.
No. And I hear he's pretty hard to listen to live too.
Yeah, he's hard to listen to in the hotel room. When I lived in L.A., they was like, that's Axl down the way. He's tearing up shit and throwing wine bottles everywhere. Little crazy bastard. Hell no. Look, Slash is great, but Guns N' Roses, man, really?
I like Duff. I like Slash.
Yeah, I like Izzy.
Yeah, I like Izzy. I'm not
Izzy
a fan
was
of Axl.
fantastic. Yeah, when Izzy left, the
But
band
it did
started
take
falling
them a
apart.
while to get on.
I thought they were. I loved their sound as a band. I just thought they could use a better lead singer, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's it. A better lead singer. That's all. That's all they need.
But well, no matter what we say, he was one of the most iconic musicians of the '80s, no doubt.
Yeah.
How many albums
Oh,
did they
yeah.
sell, Chris?
18 million just off Appetite.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm picking overrated albums. I'm picking the top notch.
All right, good job. So I think we're down to Sweeney with his number one overrated album.
And since we just mentioned Appetite, I'm going with Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 for my number 1 pick. I just never got it. I think everybody blew it way out of proportion again because of who they were and everything else. And people, I think, more focused on it being just Guns N' Roses, being the band itself, instead of the quality of the music and everything else. And I just didn't see that.
So you picking the
So I wasn't with
the
all that.
set of albums, or just part 1 or part 2? Or are you picking them together?
I'm picking both of them since they both
Okay.
come out at the same time.
Got you.
Mm.
And those were big selling albums, man. They were huge.
They were definitely big.
Well, they were good albums. Now, I think the best song on the whole collection was November Rain. That was a fantastic song. I mean, it just was. It was a fantastic song, especially the long version.
Garden. If I had to pick
The
one
long
song,
version is great because you get more Slash. You get more Slash than you do anything else. And, man, he just rocked out the long version of that thing.
All right, so it's time for our
If I had
reactions.
to pick a Guns N' Roses song.
Go ahead.
Oh, if I had to pick a Guns N' Roses song, it'd be "I Used to Love Her, But I Had to Kill Her."
Oh, yeah.
That'd be my go-to song.
I ain't saying that's my favorite
That would be
song.
my
I'm
go-to
just saying it's a
song.
great song, as far as that collection went.
All right.
Right.
So reaction time to Appetite. Or Use Your Illusion. I'm sorry for being overrated. I liked it. We got 3 that agree and 1 don't. Good job.
Outrageous.
So now it's my turn for my selection for the most overrated rock album of all time. And it's going to make a lot of people say, "What?" But even though I love this band, one of my favorite bands ever, I always thought this album wasn't very good. I just thought, it's okay. There's one song on it I love. It's an awesome song, and the rest of it, it's just like, it's okay. And that is Physical Graffiti by Led Zeppelin. I was not a big fan. I liked Kashmir. I thought that was an amazing song. But after that, just did not get it. Maybe it's over my head. I don't know. I just thought compared to their other work, I like all their other stuff way better than I do Physical Graffiti.
Wasn't that the one with All My Love?
All My Loving, I'm not sure. I know. I think there was a lot of songs off the previous albums that didn't make it that they threw together to make Physical Graffiti. So like songs off Houses of the Holy and maybe like Led Zeppelin 2 or 3, like songs that didn't make the album. I think they took a lot of those songs and they threw them together to make Physical Graffiti. And a lot of people will swear and tell you, "Oh, that's the greatest album Led Zeppelin ever made." I'm like, no way. I like a couple songs. I love Kashmir. A couple other songs are pretty good. I just thought that album was super overrated. So reaction time with the thumbs. Physical Graffiti. I got 1 agree, 1 doesn't, 2 agree. I got 1 kind of in the middle. Iffy. So 2 and a maybe. 2 and 1 and a maybe. All right, so now I'm going to go back to Andrew, and he can give off some honorable mentions, albums that didn't make his top 5 but were knocking at the door.
Now, I kind of got confused when I said Kickstart My Heart, but it was Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood.
Okay.
Kickstart My Heart, I've listened to it so many times. Could really care less now. But, Sticky Sweet, I'm not a fan of that song. I just don't understand it.
All right, so Andrew's got Dr. Feelgood from Motley Crue. Tommy, you got any honorable mentions there?
Oh, yeah. Well, anything Def Leppard did after Power Mania.
Adrenalize?
Yeah, Adrenalize, whatever that other god-awful album was after that. A band that was that hot just fall apart like they did was insane to me. Early 90s.
Def Leppard post Pyromania goes Tommy Barnes.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, you got any honorable mention rock albums that almost made your top 5?
No, I just got one Kiss and Tell album that I think that's overrated. But I just got the fire I want to blow for this episode. Since we're all voting on the overrated bands and the overrated albums, I just want to blow a little bit of fire.
All right, so for all you out there watching this, do not try this at home. It's a disclaimer.
Got blow fire.
Okay, Mike's going to do his Gene Simmons impersonation, or he's going to blow fire and try not to catch his eyebrows ablaze. All right, here he goes.
Oh, God, he's got a lot of fluid.
Oh, my God. All right.
My daughter watched that and thought that was really cool.
If you want fire, you got it.
That's not for another band. That
You're at the
sucks.
firehouse.
That's for the real band Kiss.
Woo, yeah.
The real
Get the
band.
firehouse.
The hottest band in the world, Kiss.
Yeah.
Because Mike set his house on fire.
My daughter said that was pretty hot.
So you see it?
Literally.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, actually, and I love this album too. That's the bad part about it. I think Ozzy's The Ultimate Sin album was really overrated at that time. It's a great album. There are great songs, but to me, I could live without it just for the fact that production-wise and stuff like that, it was just wasn't that, that wasn't that great. And the Shot in the Dark, being a good song as it is, kind of lays flat if you really listen to it. If you listen to live versions of it, rock's a lot better. And now.
So now I got a few albums I'll rattle off real quick that are honorable mentions and almost made my top 5. And they are Pearl Jam, Vitology, Kiss, Revenge, Bruce Springsteen, Nebraska, Guns N' Roses, Lies, Van Halen, OU812, Motley Crue, Too Fast for Love, U2, Unforgettable Fire, and The Who, Tommy.
Wow.
Not saying I don't like them, just saying I feel like they were pretty overrated.
You thought Revenge was overrated?
Yes.
Domino.
And
I love Revenge.
the reason why I think
I do.
the reason why I think it got so much love, I'm not saying it sucked. There's a few songs on it I definitely like, but I think the reason it was as well received is because there was so much shit before it. There was Hot in the Shade, Crazy Nights, Asylum, Animalize, and then when they finally put out a pretty good album, because I think Revenge is a pretty good album. I don't think it's terrible or not. I think it's a pretty good album. It just blew everybody away. It's like, oh shit, this is a halfway decent album. Oh my God, this is awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I felt happened with Revenge.
I think
Revenge basically was them slapping you and saying, "Hey, we're still right here."
Yeah.
That album definitely belonged in the 70s.
It was,
as far as great albums.
It was a return to form album. I saw it that way. I mean, they showed that they pulled through a tragedy of losing a member of the band through a death, and they come back strong for him.
Now we're going to get to why all the Kiss fans have waited this long and haven't clicked out and left. Now we're going to give our number 1 most overrated Kiss album of all time. And we're going to start with Andrew. So, Andrew, tell us what your number 1 most overrated Kiss album of all time is.
Oh, this was a hard one, but I'm going to have to say Asylum. I mean, the whole album, it's halfway decent. I mean, like, Who Wants to Be Lonely? I mean, I like it, but after a while, it just gets old.
So, Andrew went Kiss Asylum. Do you like it a little bit, or are you just one of the albums you don't really care for?
It was, I mean, I love all the albums. It was just really one I wasn't caring for too much, but it's halfway decent, I would say.
All right, so we got Kiss Asylum. So we're going to have a thumb reaction. If you think Kiss Asylum was overrated, let's see it. Or if you think it was a good album.
Outrageous.
Oh, so everybody agreed with you, Andrew. We all think Asylum was overrated. Okay, good job, Andrew. Now we're at the bug, Tater Bug.
All right, you can take your pick in the '80s, but I'm gonna take Hot in the Shade.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
The only song worth listening to on the whole album was a ballad, which is "This Is Kiss." You know? So I mean that's what's so bad about it.
This is Michael Bolton, Tommy.
Yeah, well, Michael Bolton wrote the song, you know, and it was the only decent song on the album to listen to. I mean, Hide Your Heart. Yeah, you just want to say fast forward.
I think Bonnie Tyler sung that song better.
Yeah.
I think Ace Frehley's version was better.
Yeah.
I like Ace Frehley's version of Trouble Walking better.
Yeah, but
it had more rock cred to it.
Yeah, Hot in the Shade, it was just, I think that's why we love Revenge so much, is because we had dealt with all that crap for all those years, and this comes out, and you're like, holy shit, you know.
All right, so Tommy's choice is Hot in the Shade, so let's get those thumb reactions.
Outrageous. Outrageous.
Everybody agrees Hot in the Shade was way overrated. Mike
I
Watts.
I like the album. It's pretty good.
Are you sure you're listening to Hot in the Shade?
Right. I don't.
I own the album.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pee on that album if it was on fire.
I would. It's Kiss. I'm a diehard Kiss fan.
I'm gonna tell you.
I was surprised how many albums they actually sold of it. But I mean, I own every Kiss album.
Hide your heart.
I'm a diehard Kiss fan.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what.
I got to do this for Andrew.
Uh-oh, here comes Sweeney.
Look here.
Peter Chris.
Look
Look at that Peter
Peter
Chris
Chris.
tattoo.
I like that.
Even Peter Chris said that album was shit.
That's a real Kiss fan.
No, I personally like the album. I'm just surprised at how many people actually like it.
Yeah, we're surprised how many people like it.
Yeah. I know one
Hide Your
person.
Heart was like, that is one of my favorite songs off the album.
I know one person who really hated that album, and he actually played on the album. That was Eric Carr.
Yeah.
Eric Carr hated that album. He said they took out a lot of his drums and replaced it with drum tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm honestly surprised about that. They're actually
make it for a
surprised
commercial
me.
comes up.
So let's get off Tito and him being the king of the streets. Let's go to Mike.
Man, Jeff Sweeney, you're going to be mad on this overrated Kiss album. You're probably going to kill me, especially with that nice Peter Chris tattoo you got. You're going to kill me. But I had to pick a popular album because if it's overrated, that means it's popular, right? And I know some good songs are on this album that I'm about to pick. And Chris, hold on. I'm about to pick my album before you cut me off. Destroyer.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. I love God of Thunder. And that's about it.
Oh, my goodness, Mike Watts.
My favorite song on Destroyer is Do You Love Me? You got Detroit Rock City.
Okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't even
We
like
paid
Detroit Rock
on the whole
City?
track. And, you know, Flaming Youth can kiss my ass. And the whole album can kiss my ass.
I love the
Beth
whole
can
album.
kiss my ass. That
What?
boring ass little bitty song. And so Destroyer is my pick for overrated Kiss album.
I think Mike swallowed too much kerosene.
Yeah, I know. I just got a little sleepy.
Don't let the days.
Hey, you know, hey, look, you're not getting the point. In order
over
to be
here
overrated,
shocked
it has to be popular.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's
So
a good
I'm
but
point.
as many
picking stuff that's ticking
god-awful
everybody
albums.
off, but I'm picking the right one.
But honestly, I was kind of thinking that, but
Right. So Mike goes to Kiss Destroyer. So let's have our thumb reactions. All right. It's all right, Mike. You tried, brother. You tried, brother. So nobody agrees that Destroyer's overrated. So let's go to Sweeney.
This may step on some toes. Chris, this may get on your toes. I don't know, but I'm going to go with Dynasty.
Ooh.
Even it was the return of Kiss, after a lengthy kind of break in solo albums and stuff. But man, to me, if you listen to it, as much as people may like "Sure Know Something" or stuff like that, to me that's a throwaway song. Even Peter Chris's "Dirty Living" is kind of a throwaway song. I hate to say that because if you saw the tattoo, I'm a huge Peter Chris fan. But if I have to listen, and I was made for loving you.
Dynasty was more, when they came out with Dynasty, that was more like in the disco era.
Exactly. Right.
I mean, I like the album, like, I Was Made for Loving You. It was back then, every rock band was basically coming out with a disco album. So Dynasty
I'm so glad
was
it was
Kiss,
a short-lived situation.
No, I am too.
Kiss's disco album.
But as much as it was a disco sounding album, they still stayed true to the harder track. To me, if you listen to side B on that album, everything on that whole side B smokes everything on side A. When you start with Charisma and end with Save Your Love, everything blew it away. Even Gene's other song on there, X-Ray Eyes, that he had, that was better than anything was on the first side.
But
and that song was kind of cheesy if you listen to it, but to me it blows everything on the first side away. Exactly.
So I'm going to tell you how much I love that album.
I love it, honestly.
I love that disco sound because I was a fan of disco. I loved I Was Made for Loving You. I loved Sure Know Something. I thought that was a great song. And I loved the other disco sounding song on there was Dirty Living, which is one of my favorite Peter Criss songs. So those three songs definitely have a disco feel to them. The other ones, they don't. 2000 Man was a great cover of the Rolling Stones song by Ace.
Yeah.
I love Magic Touch is one of my favorite Paul Stanley songs ever.
Oh, yeah. Indeed, mine too.
That's a great song.
I love Magic Touch. I thought all three Ace songs were solid on that album.
Very.
And I think, like Sweeney said, I really loved, and it doesn't get any recognition, but I really loved X-Ray Eyes.
I do.
I love that song.
The guitar solo during that song was smoking. I loved it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. You hear the laser sound and effects, and it kind of like it too when it's starting. So it was really, really, really cool.
So we're going to do a thumb reaction to Dynasty. I want to disagree because I love that album. We got two that disagree and maybe two that agree. I don't know where Mike went. But he's disappeared. He's
blowing flame out the crack of his tail.
Yeah,
hey, look at his little frog clock.
Where's it at? Oh, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I'm on the wall.
We're up to me and my number one most overrated Kiss album. And I know a lot of people will get mad because I hear a lot of people say they love this album and it's one of their favorite albums. And my number one overrated album is none other than Dress to Kill.
Oh,
I am not a big fan of Dress to Kill. I like Two Timer. I like Love Her All I Can. But looking at
the whole album. It's a great album.
The song Room Service, I think, could be their worst song they've ever written just because it sounds like it was written by a second grader in the car on the way to school because he forgot to do his homework. That's how bad the lyrics are.
Wow.
Ladies in Waiting,
wow.
No thank you. Getaway, no. Rock Bottom, I like it better live. Come On and Love Me, and it's okay. I like it better live. Rock and Roll All Night, I like it better live.
Oh, I agree with that.
All right, so that is going to conclude this episode. It's a great, great episode. I thought all you guys brought some strong responses and good debate material. So we'll start with Andrew. Andrew, if you got any shout-outs, I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor here.
Join Kiss Rock Army on Facebook, and we'll have a blast.
So Andrew says join Kiss Rock Army on Facebook because he's the administrator, one of the administrators, and show your Kiss fandom through your support for his Facebook page. Okay, so I'm Kiss and Tell. So remember to rock and roll all night and watch Kiss and Tell podcast every day.
All day.